seconds of dead space before you go live and you're actually live. So here we go, we're live. So now I can remove this other way. Can remove that. And hi, and welcome everybody. This is StreamYard Tech Talk. StreamYard is the easiest way to create professional looking streams. But some people, like myself and my guests on the show, like to go the extra mile. Right? So this show is for us streaming geeks, the ones who love to tinker and stretch the possibilities of the tech and do a little bit more than the basics. So today I've got a special guest with me, Melanie Dyann Howe, and she will be talking about how to create custom countdown clocks, animated overlays. Oh man, it's going to be so popular, and how to handle multiple cameras in an easy way. We'll be talking about all these things and maybe even a bit more like adding music to your show and having some fun with lighting. But this is all about the Q&A, live Q&A, so get your questions ready. We might bring you on, live on camera with us to ask your questions right after this intro. Yeah. Hi, Melanie. Hi, welcome to Tech Talk.
How's it going? Thank you for having me. This is awesome.
It's a lot of fun. We got a lot of people already with us here. I see our good friend Tim Sohn, as usual.
Shout out to Tim.
And Stefan Kaplan, and lots of people. So we'll start with a few little notes here. If you are asking a question, please use the hashtag ask. You don't have to, but it'll help me find you in the feed. We usually get tons of comments on the show, so it'll help know if you're asking us or asking somebody else. So please do that. Let us know where you're from. That's always great to hear. We've got people from all over the world, and it's so much fun to get to know you guys. A couple of more stuff. We got, if you want to win a mug, every show we hand out a mug. So use the Love StreamYard hashtag to enter to win. Melanie will pick somebody at the end of the show, so you can use that hashtag now to comment. You can add it later. And then we'll just pick at random somebody, or maybe just whoever Melanie likes. Any question Melanie likes specifically might go for that. There are no rules here. We just go for it. And what else? And that's it. And we will be posting a live link here to joining us in the studio a little bit later for comments and for questions, live questions and answers. So we've been doing that for the last couple of shows, and that was pretty popular. So we'll keep doing that. So there we go. Melanie, why don't you do a brief introduction so people know who you are and what you do and why you're on the show?
Yeah, sure. Thank you for having me. This is awesome. So my name is Melanie Dyann Howe, and essentially what I do is I help people put themselves out there using social media, specifically live video. So I actually coach people, and I have a live video boot camp that I do. I also am the host of a podcast called DIY Marketing School. And I like to help people that are what I call do-it-yourself marketers. So DIY marketers. And essentially they are the scrappy people, but I have a motto that scrappy does not necessarily need to mean crappy. And so I like figuring out like the easy ways to do stuff and then sharing how to do those things. And so a lot of tips and tricks and little hacks. And sometimes I like to duct tape apps together and make them do cool things that big fancy things can do. So that's what I'm here. And I love it. And it's been a lot of fun. And I'm excited to be here because I love StreamYard. I started getting really into StreamYard a little less than a year ago. And it's made live video so much fun. But it's also helped me take my productions to a completely different level. And then it really honestly gave me, I like to say, it gave me all these things to figure out and toys, like, right, tech toys to kind of play with. And it was a blast last year trying to figure out how to really maximize this app. And you guys have done such a great job adding new features, and just I'm excited for what you guys are building right now and where you guys are going in 2021. I'm really excited to be here because I love StreamYard.
Awesome, great. Well, we've got a bunch of stuff to talk about, but First, I want, as we do it every show, I like to share a screen and just talk a little bit about the tech that you show.
Mhm.
And I'm going to share a screen here. But today is kind of special because usually we show people who have loads of different technology and all kinds of cool gadgets. And today, surprise, we have somebody who's a great pro streamer. But when you look at the photo here of your studio, I see nothing.
Right. Yeah, there is nothing fancy here. I mean, there is nothing fancy. The fanciest thing you might see is maybe my Yeti microphone or maybe my LED lights. I'm not sure. And this picture is before I added some additional lights into the cube. So if you look at me now, you see a couple of little tube lights. There are tube lights out there that you can buy that are like $100+. I got these things at Walmart for like $30. So, I mean, you can absolutely create a really great scene and a really great look by being a little bit scrappier. I mean, of course, we wish we could afford all the great fancy things, but not all of us can. And I truly do like to find solutions that are they lower the barrier of entry for people. So, you don't have to wait until you have $1,000 budget to create a professional looking live stream. And so, my camera actually, now that I think about it, is actually the fanciest thing I have. I'll just run through what I'm using, the technology that I'm using. So, the microphone I'm using is a Blue Yeti microphone, but I have also used a Blue Nano microphone. Works great. It's a cheaper version of the Blue Yeti. JLab just came out with some new microphones. I have tested those and they work absolutely great. And they have a lower price point as well. So you don't have to use a real fancy microphone. I am using a Sony A6100 that's connected to a cam link, a 4K cam link. Now, before I upgraded to the Sony, I did use the Canon M50 with the Canon web utility app, which gave me a clean HDMI look. So if you have a Canon, you don't have to upgrade your camera. I just happened to I was ready to upgrade my camera and I wanted to get a camera that's gonna be really great for live streaming. The Sony A6100 has the kit lens on it. And it is plugged into a dummy battery so that I don't have to run my battery down or burn out my camera. I'm also using a newer, I can never say the brand name, an 18-inch ring light. Personally, for me, there are cheap ring lights out there. I say if you're going to get a ring light, you need to get one that is in that $60 plus price range. And you want to get one that's at least 18 inches because I've tried the cheap little ones and they just don't do the same job. They don't provide that same cast of light. They create a lot of shadows. Now, the really scrappy thing that I'm using, so some people call this a hair light. If you go back to that last photo, you'll see up top, on top of my IKEA bookshelf, that is a $12 LED desk lamp that you clip on to a desk. And I literally think I got that at Lowe's for like $12. And it is attached to the top and it is shining down on me right now. So it creates that little mimicked hair light look. So yeah, it's nothing fancy at all. It's a pretty scrappy setup. But it's fun. And, I'll continue to add things and change things. I have a couple of other webcams as well. I have a Logitech Brio that I used to use before I started using my mirrorless camera. And then I also have originally started out with a Logitech 920. So, and we'll see that in action here in a second.
Awesome. Yeah, and great. And so I just wanted to just clarify again, for those of you out there who are new to the show or new to StreamYard, you don't need any of this stuff at all. You just need a laptop and StreamYard. That's it.
Or even just a phone. Or even just a phone.
Just a phone.
Yeah.
And I added my phone here and the mobile phone just to give people an extra view and see from the back. And I wanted to compare it to yours. So mine is a bit more elaborate. I've got a bunch of different tools here and setups and more lighting. But I got 2 different cameras and a spare laptop. So I've got like a whole big deal. But really, you don't need any of that. And you can use your phone. So if I go back to my original camera view, or maybe you can see the phone right here. So this, Melanie, we actually chatted about this before we went live, how to do this and how to make this work. So you wanna maybe jump into that topic a bit?
Yeah. So I do think multiple cameras, I think a lot of people say, well, why would I need multiple cameras in my stream? Well, you just you used a great example, show a behind the scenes shot. So I think a lot of people want to see where your work environment is. So depending on what it is you do and why you're streaming in the first place, maybe you're streaming from your workshop. Maybe you are an artist and you're talking about the art you do. Well, you could have another camera angle that shows the actual canvas, right? You could be talking to the screen, and then you have another angle with your phone or another camera that shows the actual canvas. Or you could literally be like, now I'm going to walk on over here and I'll show you blah, 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 right? This is really popular with people that are hands-on, or like, chefs, artists, and those types of things. But also when you get to switch the camera angle, it also just kind of can create a little more interest in your stream instead of just you on screen the whole time. And maybe, you may just have a different look over here. I know you've done that sometimes, Daniel. You'll kind of toggle between exactly right there. And you're using the A10 Mini to do that right now, which is a piece of hardware that has a cost to it. But if you have an old, webcam laying around because maybe you upgraded your webcam, or as Daniel showed you, the phone, you could actually do this without any hardware at all. All you need is StreamYard, and you need to have that other camera plugged in. All you have to do is open up the browser again, and you literally go to StreamYard and you go right into that same stream that you're in. And it's going to ask you to join with a camera, join with audio, and you're literally going to join with the other camera. And then you're going to pick an audio device, but I would recommend you mute that audio device. That is where it gets a little tricky, is the audio when you're adding this additional camera. So yeah, it's actually really easy to do. And people, I think, don't realize, oh my gosh, I thought I had to have some extra fancy piece of hardware to be able to create these different angles. And you really don't. You just have to have another web browser, and that's it. And you join the stream basically. And then just down in your little backstage, you can just click on what you want to do. You switch cameras. You can have both cameras on at the same time. It's fantastic. I've used this a lot, and it's been a lot of fun.
Right. And there's a couple of small differences. So so just to build on what you were saying, I have an old laptop that I found, and I use the webcam on that laptop as a separate camera right here. And in this case, I have it hooked up to the ATM Mini, simply because I have it already, and so I use it. But really the difference is with the ATM Mini, you can only pick one camera at a time. Mm-hmm. But if you're logging into StreamYard from separate devices, so they have to have a browser in them, right? A computer, an iPhone, but you can get multiple angles at once. So if you're streaming from, say, a church or an event of some sort, this comes really, really in handy, where you can show different angles and different people, and you can show at the same time, maybe musical bands, all those kind of stuff. So that could be great. So
really, I think there's so many ways you could do it. It really lets your creativity fly with how you want it. I know a lot of times some people will want, it just depends on what your topic's about and what you do. But I know a lot of times people will say, "Oh, I wish I could have me on screen, but then show what's on the other side." Because they're doing they're streaming and they're talking about like a game, and they want to be able to toggle back and forth between the game view and them as like the announcer, if you will. You could literally just have two cameras, one pointing the other direction, and then one pointing at you. You know what I mean? So, and then Daniel, you and I, before this show, I asked you, I said, "Hey, this is a concept that people don't know about," but then it kind of came to my mind. Could you also have your guest join with a second camera? Because maybe you're interviewing a specialist and they want to have two cameras, and you were like, it should work. And we did a quick test. And so I'm going to actually join it again. And you're probably going to want to mute my mic.
There we go.
Yeah. So we're going to have an echo probably because...
because I removed you from the. So as long as we have
perfect.
one camera at a time, there won't be any echo.
Got it. So I'm now. That's my Logitech 920 behind me, showing the behind the scenes as a guest.
Awesome. I'll put back the original video, because you have a separate mic associated with each one of those.
Yep.
And the second mic wasn't quite as good. I think that was the built-in mic. Yeah.
Exactly. And I didn't want to select the same mic because that's the thing where you have to get a little bit you have to kind of really think through it a little bit. Now, one of the ways that makes this really easy is, like I said, you could just, if you want to have both cameras on at the same time, then you could mute your microphone. I haven't tested it where you're using the same microphone. So that would be something you might want to try out. And one of the cool things about StreamYard is, which I love, that is you can practice and test so many things without even going live. You just go into the studio, create a broadcast, and just play around with stuff. And it's also a cheap way to have a Zoom meeting without having to have a paid Zoom account. You can just bring your guests in and you never even go live. I mean, I don't know. I think that, again, it's such a great application and there's so many different uses for it and so many different ways we can maximize the usage. But yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty fun. Okay, I see we have a question.
Yeah, we have a few questions. So let's give a bit to a few questions before we, and then I'll share the link with you guys to join us live in the studio after the next segment. So I don't want people waiting in the studio for too long. So we'll do it soon. Cool. But yeah, Chris, just a few clarification questions here. Mm-hmm. For example, Christian is asking about how when you have multiple cameras, you have them all logged in, hooked up to the same computer?
Yeah, I'm glad Christian asked this question so that we can make sure everybody understands. Yes, my cameras are hooked into the same computer. So in this case, I think that is you're using a whole separate camera on a separate computer. But as long as you have enough USB imports and you have multiple cameras, you hook them into the same computer. Now, using an iPhone as a webcam does, I think, require an app on your phone. So and I think do you guys have a video tutorial on that yet? On how to use your iPhone to join as a webcam?
I'm not 100% sure about that. I think we must have one. Yes, I think we do. In the resources section, so from your dashboard, go in the top right, there is a My Account button. And a drop down there, you can find resources, and you'll find the resources in there. If you can't find them, just ask our support through the support widget. They're always happy to give information. Yeah. A few more questions here. There are a few questions about the echo. I think in the case of having multiple cameras, I think that's specifically, but I know people in general always have questions about echo management. What specifically do you do to manage echo, if you have that issue at all?
The only time I really have the issue, it's very rare. It seems to be inconsistent. Sometimes I have it, and I do sometimes have it when a guest doesn't have their headphones in or something like that. But for multiple cameras, so just so that I'm careful, when I use multiple cameras, I have that second camera muted. And that is simply because of the way I'm not needing to fully switch. So what I do is, when you're in StreamYard and you have both cameras, it will show up in your backstage, just like if you're sharing a screen. And if I want to just show one view, then I go to solo view. I don't remove my main shot with the audio from the stream. I just click on solo view, and then it lets me show the behind the scenes camera, but my audio is still working on my main, first camera. So I know that's a bit technical, but anybody who's using StreamYard and has worked and played around with the solo view versus whatever knows what I mean. That would be how I would still have audio coming in, but I would have that other mic muted. If you needed to truly switch from one to the other, then you would need to mute and unmute yourself so that you avoid the echo. Because I have not found a way to get to avoid the echo. Now, granted, I haven't tested using the same mic. I have a feeling there would be issues, but it's worth testing. So just keep trying stuff, and that's the thing. That's the encouragement I always have to give everybody, is just keep playing around with it and have fun with it. And you'll learn new things, and you'll figure new things out, and you'll figure things that don't work. And I mean, just take the time and just enjoy the process.
Yeah. By the way, I've used a USB mic with in the same time for multiple windows, and it works fine.
Perfect.
So,
Great. That might be the solution.
Not a problem. So I guess on the Mac, at least, it worked nicely.
Yeah. Okay. And I'm on a PC. That's something we didn't tell anybody, I guess.
Yeah. Okay. So that's we have a question here, which is a perfect lead into the next topic, which I think is the highlight of the show.
Yeah.
So let me just find it here, because it's already disappeared in the stream here. Okay. So I will just, instead of showing the question, I'm just going to show this, and we will talk about how you did it.
Yeah. So that is my little dancing Mel, right? So I was watching, I think it was one of the shows Dana was doing, and she had confetti. And I was like, what? How did they do that? And I was like, how'd they do that? How'd they do that? And so I started thinking about it, and I was like, you can add in your overlays, you can add a GIF or a GIF, however you want to pronounce it. And which is probably going to start a whole new stream of comments, a battle between GIF or GIF. But I was like, interesting. I want to know how to do that. And so I was like, a transparent GIF. I wonder if a transparent GIF would work. So I literally went to like Jiffy and I just found like confetti, transparent confetti, and I pulled it into StreamYard and it worked. I was like, holy crap, this is awesome. But I don't own that GIF or GIF. And I thought, man, and I've pulled in some other ones like, there's just some interesting things I've seen. That one right there, actually, I have this goal now. I want to mimic all my favorite GIFs and have it be me. Because the other reason is I don't have to worry about any copyright issues. If it's me, just me, and I make it, then I'm good to go. And we don't know what's going to happen with copyright laws these days. So anyway, I really started exploring like, okay, how can I do this? How can I make a transparent animated file, without having to learn something like Adobe After Effects or some crazy hard software? And so I just kind of started Googling a little bit. And I think I even posted, I'm a certified Canva creative, and Canva is an amazing tool, but it does not export transparent GIFs. It will export transparent PNGs, which is what I use to design my overlays. But I think I went in there and I posted in there, and someone suggested I try an application called Unscreen. And so what Unscreen does is it actually you upload a video and it will take anything that's moving and it will keep that, and it removes everything else. It does not really need a green screen. It basically, whatever's moving in the video, it will save, and then everything else gets deleted. So you could literally do this in front of any solid colored wall, video yourself doing something, go to Unscreen, upload the video, and then it will remove the background. And then you can literally take that transparent GIF file that it created. It's kind of a tricky process to get it down small into the file. I then uploaded it to Canva and I shrunk it down and put it in the corner. And then I exported that video file, and then I did it one more time in Unscreen. And then I had my own GIF, because you can export a GIF file out of Unscreen. And so if you want to share my screen really fast, yeah. So this is Unscreen. So you can also just make you can add a background right here in Unscreen. And so I have this clapping one I made. I've got this one that you see sometimes. I've got the wow, which is also it's out there. I've done the mind blowing right here. So what I do is I pull these up during my streams. Like when I'm talking with my people and somebody has a win that they're sharing, I will literally pull this up sometimes, and it's just fun. It creates amazing engagement. People love it. This has been such a conversation topic. And the really cool thing that's fun too, Daniel, is like, for example, these right here. You can take this right here, pull it into Canva, and design your own whatever you want. You can add text to it. And so I made my own GIFs. And so when I'm in like a group and someone has something that they want to, they have a win they're sharing, in the comments, I will literally just share my own GIF file. And people are like, what? How did you do that? And I'm just like, it's magic, but again, so Unscreen, there is a free version. However, I would suggest if you're going to make these, you actually spend $9 USD, whatever. I think it's like $9, and you get like 300 minutes worth of files for the month. And so just go in there and make a bunch of fun files and then be done. $9. You know what I mean? You can obviously use Canva. You can use any other video editing program you use that you want to use. I did record these first videos, but with a green screen behind me, but you don't have to. I figured it out after a while that it uses motion. It basically takes the motion and saves it. So if you're standing still for a minute and then you're moving, it will actually mess up. So it's actually, you just got to play around with it. And once you get it figured out, you can create some really fun stuff. So it's a lot of fun.
That is, lots and lots of fun. Super cool. Okay. And so you just basically take that, put into Canva, and then download the transparent background.
Yeah, I made these first ones, and I was kind of big in the video, so then I deleted the background from them. Then I took this file, uploaded it to Canva, and then I moved it down, I shrunk it down, and well, I guess I could show you really fast if you want.
Yeah, let's take a look at that.
Yeah, let's do that really fast. Let me create a new design. do a video design. And let me maximize this so you guys can see it big. So sometimes when I try to do Canva demos when I'm live, it gets really slow. So bear with me. So essentially, these uploads that I have that are video files, I pulled these from, so see, here's the original one where I got the original idea, right? So you make your own and you export it and it's going to come in at this size, right? So this is what this came from on screen. All you have to do is shrink it down and make it whatever size you want and drag it into the corner. And then you're going to export this as a video file, and then you will upload it to Unscreen, and then you'll have this, it'll remove the background and you'll have that version. And so these are all recent ones that I've made. They're there, and it saves them for, 30 days or something, and then it'll delete the files, but you just download it and you have it. So again, this is what I like to say, we're duct taping two apps together. So you would record the video however you want, pull it into Unscreen, remove your background, export that file, pull it into Canva, put it wherever you want. If you wanted to make it flip it upside down and have it drop down, just think about how you want it to show up in your stream. And you can also do this exact same thing with some of the animated stickers that come in Canva. So if you go to the elements in Canva, there are also some stickers. So we'll go here to elements. And you'll see, and some of these are pro. So if you have a pro account, you should have all this fun stuff. But as you see here, this right here, you could put this into the corner and like the same thing, as long as it's moving. Now, I will say some of the text doesn't always come through, but a lot of the stickers that you see over here, you could put those in here, export the video file, put it into Unscreen, remove the background, and then you have a transparent GIF, which you can then upload to Canva in your overlays. And then as Daniel's doing, you click that overlay and it's going to pull that thing up. No differently than if you have overlays that you're using for, if you have your name or your brand or something, somewhere. All of our accounts come with that StreamYard overlay that says, this is powered by StreamYard. But if you have any of the paid accounts for StreamYard, you can have your own custom overlays. And the overlay option is a GIF file. Now, it would be amazing if we could have higher size GIFs. Right now, you're limited to a 3 megabyte file. So you do have to make sure it's pretty low res, but as you can see, it turns out just fine. It looks just fine. So it's a lot of fun. Again, one of those things where you just duct tape a couple different apps together and make it do something it's not originally designed to do. And you can make really great things.
Yeah, so this is awesome. This is it's super, super cool. I see everybody's going crazy in comments about this is so neat and they got to try it. I love how easy it is once you show how to get it done.
Yeah.
And in fact, it doesn't have to be there. You could take fewer steps than what you did, except it would fill up the entire screen. So depending on what you're doing, it might make sense. Like confetti or something that you want, like poly-ish thing, you might want to take over the screen. But if you want to shrink it, then there's an extra step in there.
Yep.
That's all. Otherwise, just remove the background and that's it. And upload as an overlay.
Exactly. And the other thing I would suggest to somebody who maybe doesn't want to go through all this is find whatever video you want or find something you want, go to a website like Fiverr and find a gig on Fiverr for someone who can basically do it for you for $5 or whatever. You could probably do that as well. So again, think outside the box a little bit. It doesn't require you to have to use super expensive or heavy software or know all the things. You just have to use your imagination. And so again, I always say, don't mimic other people, but you can model after them. You can see what they do and then get an idea and you can run with it and then figure out, these apps can do so many amazing things. You do have to tinker with them to figure out what you can do and what is, possible. So, I use Canva to create my countdown timers as well. And I know I get asked about that a lot. All I did was I went to Pixabay. I found a free countdown timer and I literally downloaded the countdown video and I uploaded it to Canva and I added it into a graphic and then I have my own countdown timer and I'm a pro user. So I get music that comes with it. And I created, my own little countdown timer that starts. And then at the end, I have a little thanks for watching. I made that in Canva too. So, there's so many great things you can do and so many great things that you can make if you use these apps. If you just get in there and tinker with them and think outside the box. And you do sometimes have to use multiple resources together.
Laura's giving a good tip as well, and she just had somebody on Fiverr do it, and you could definitely can do that as well. So it's super easy if you don't feel like doing these stuff yourself or you don't want to tinker with it. It's
Hmm.
they're not expensive at all to do. And the places I love what you said, Melanie, is that you can actually download pre-made GIFs like these and just upload them to the to StreamYard as an overlay.
Yep.
So any GIF from Giphy is essentially if you remove the background or look for GIFs that have a transparent background. And so you just searched for transparent background in Giphy, and that's
Yes,
it.
that's
That's
exactly.
it.
If you go to Giphy and you go, or Giffer, either one, and you
Mm.
just do transparent background, a bunch of different stickers will show up. What I will say is a lot of them are made in square format. And so they're only going to show in, like, for example, the confetti, most of the confetti ones I found, it was like, it's like in the middle. But, then a lot of them also will fill the whole screen. So again, you can get ideas there, but you can also you could do what I just explained. You can actually pull that file, put it into Canva, move it into where you want it to be in frame, and then use unscreen to again remove the background. As of right now, Canva does not have an option to have a transparent video. You cannot create a transparent background in videos in Canva. It's actually a feature request that I requested. I don't know if it'll happen, but I mean, it'd be amazing if it did. But hard to
Yeah,
say.
I believe the transparent video, background video, is something that doesn't really exist. There are some finagles around it, but it doesn't really exist.
Yeah,
It's just
yeah.
not supported in the format. So somebody mentioned here, Countdown was Neil actually, who will be a guest on the show, I think, in a couple of weeks.
Oh, cool.
So Neil was talking about having different length of countdown clocks.
Hmm.
And I
Yep.
just downloaded before the show a couple of countdown clocks. This one's a timer, actually. This can help you. I put it in the logo section. So it can just show up there and you can just tell somebody you've got 5 seconds, go. And then there you go. After 5 seconds, you can even have a sound effect that goes like, I don't know if you could hear that. I didn't optimize the volume for that, but you
Yeah.
can have a sound effect that stops at that moment where you get
So
to.
that I did not know you
You
could do that. So you can do a video file or a GIF file in the logo section too.
GIF files, yes, GIF
GIF
files in the
files.
logo, also in the
Fantastic.
backgrounds and overlays, like you
Yeah,
did.
I knew you could in the backgrounds and overlays. I did not realize that you could do that in the logo section. That is cool because I've seen people have asked me like, I want to have a timer to when we do Q&As or you bring somebody on, it's like, yeah, you have rapid fire, go. You have 30 seconds to answer the question. That
Yeah.
is super, super, super cool. I did not know you could do that. That's awesome. So again, there's always stuff to learn.
Yeah, and Neil is clarifying. He will be next week.
Okay.
I didn't look at the calendar when he
Right.
mentioned it. I was just
Yeah. You
working
just
out
knew
of
it was
memory.
coming. You just knew it was coming.
Yeah, and Neil's got a tremendous amount of experience. He'll be an awesome guest. We'll get to see a bit more in depth or a bit more elaborate technology. He does
Yeah.
bigger events and so on. So that would be awesome. We've got lots of cool comments in here. If you want to join the show, by the way, you got to have the camera on in the studio for us to see you before we put you on live. We can't take the risk of bringing somebody in blind and then not knowing who they are, and who knows what will pop up there. So it's a bit of a risky move doing this, but so far it's worked really great. And in the past, I've had too many people wanting to join. Today, for some reason, we have fewer people requesting, but that's okay. We've got loads of comments here and record viewership, so that's great.
Cool.
Yeah. Okay, so we talked about the animated GIFs. We talked about making the banners. We also mentioned that we might talk a little bit about lighting or sound. So I
Yeah.
know I really wanted to hear a little bit about your little scrappy lighting tricks. What have you
Yeah.
got?
So we'll talk lighting first, and then I think it would be cool to share how you could create a stream where there's music playing, but yeah. So I think a lot of people want to be able to do that without having to use another piece of software. So the lighting I have behind me is actually, so these are just LED lights that I have taped to the back of the desk. So they create like a nice little hue. Now, I would say LED lights don't fit everybody's personality, right? I mean, not everybody really wants LED lights, but because of the colors. But most of these LED lights will let you change the color. So I can make them lighter. Now, the flickering is something you actually have to be careful about. And a lot of times that's the type of color or let me get it fixed. Go back to blue. Well, now it's going to be stuck on the color. So now we have a flicker. Hold on, let me try to fix it. There we go. So this is just a little remote. These LED lights in particular are pretty cheap. You can get these, they're built for the back of television. So they're just USB plug-in. And once I added that, it really changed the look of my stream. And for me, it fits my personality. I mean, I can use it. Again, not everybody's going to want it. Some people want that real clean, kind of bright white, kind of look. If that's you, that's great. But the other lights that I have over here, these are tube lights. And so they're like little tubes, and they come with a remote as well. I can change the color of those anytime. And then the one you see up top is just a cheap spotlight. Again, I bought it at Lowe's. I think it was like $8, and I put a smart bulb in it. And the smart bulb changes color. And so it's pretty simple, pretty easy. And I mean, honestly, it just adds a different look to the streams. I'm still changing it and refining it, and I may change what the look is in the different cubes. But yeah, so this person's Rio 197 says the backlights help separate Melanie from the background, and that is actually one of the reasons why I wanted to do it. Now, I will say that if you're just using a regular webcam, even a good webcam like the Logitech Brio, you're not going to get the same color saturation, these are really great if you are using a mirrorless camera or a DSLR camera. Most of the webcams on the market, you're not going to see, the different, they're not going to see the color the same way. It's going to be a little bit more balanced out. So if you are using a webcam, you may want to skip this for now. But that was one of the things that once I did upgrade to the mirrorless camera, I then added the LED lights, and it just changed the look of the stream and whatnot. And so it was fun. And I mentioned the hair light earlier. The hair light, it's not required, but it does help create a little bit more depth. It helps differentiate me from the background. When I don't have the hair light on, everything's a little darker right here. And it's the same as using a backlight essentially, but it's just a really cheap LED clamp on light that is on the top of my shelf. So nothing fancy at all.
Great. There's actually a question here for me. And by the way, if I missed questions in the feed, there were so many comments before. I apologize for that. A bunch of them I thought got answered natively, so I skipped them, or they just weren't relevant for that moment in time. So if I didn't get back to them, please do ask again. I do have a couple on my checklist to get to, but I'm trying to focus on lighting right now. So Lauren is saying, any tips for me about my lighting because of glare and the glasses? So that's a problem that lots of us who wear glasses have. And for me, I'll just switch to my other view here and show you that you see I've got 3 lights here. So I've just got a room light. Actually, I've got a bit more. I also got the ceiling light, just a regular ceiling light, which is yellow.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
But that one I tend to kind of ignore. So I got the room light over there, which shines up in the ceiling and bounces light off in the room, so it just creates general lighting. I've got that light over there, which shines a bit on my face and creates some shadows and sort of like a hair light, but not quite. Mm-hmm. And then I've got this one, which is the key light, and I can control it from here, from my from there. But that's just fancy. It's really just an LED panel light, which is a fancy, very nice one. And what I found is if I shine it on my face, it gets very shiny, and now you can see the reflections. Mm-hmm. But if I let it bounce off the walls, so I put it full bright and let it bounce off the walls and ceiling and bounce back at me, it's a lot less bright. So if you get the angles right, then you see if I look up a little bit, now you see the glare on my glasses. I look down a bit, it's good, so you get the angles right. And then there's also this business of, some of you might be familiar with it, which is just powdering yourself a bit and to reduce glare. So that you don't powder the glasses because that won't work.
Literally, was like, is he put that on his glasses? What?
But it does reduce the glare on your face, and for those who are bald, that's even more necessary because the light just tends to bounce a bit more. So that's just from my end of things in terms of my lighting experience. But like you said, Melanie, it's constant tweaking and updating. I get better as I go. I get one day I'll look back at today and I'll say, "Oh my gosh, that was so basic." But the truth is, the content is always more important than the
Yeah, I saw Christian made that remark up there as well, and that's so true. I think that people ask me all the time. They focus so much on the look getting perfect and whatnot, and it's like, no, I'm always like, if don't wait for all that stuff. Grab your phone and just start going live and just get to doing it, get to know your audience, get more comfortable doing it. And the content is definitely key. Nobody is going to care. All this is gimmicks, right? It's just a way to pull people in and to stop the scroll and to get people to, just give them a aesthetically pleasing and engaging, show. I mean, the little jiffy things that you pull up, those are ways to create engagement. In my opinion, those do add the quality. Using an application like StreamYard lets you create really great shows, which is going to help you create great content. But that should be your number one focus, is offering value. What are you delivering? What is your content? Lighting and all the cameras and fancy mics and all that stuff. None of that matters if your content is crap. So focus on the content for sure, and then have some fun with it. Add the fun things to, give your audience a fun show and to create a lot of really good engagement. I did see that Christian asked about my earbuds. How
Yes.
about so I got these on Amazon.
A few questions in there, and thank you, Christian, for bringing that resurfacing that question, which we didn't get to before.
Yeah, so I love these headphones, and they're just on Amazon. So I can share a link in our StreamYard community when we get off, and that way people, it won't be an affiliate link. It's just, I bought them on Amazon. They're actually pretty cheap. They're clear, and they go in and they go around your ear, and then they attach back here, and then they just go behind you. And so I love them because they're not really noticeable. If you have longer hair, no one's going to notice them at all. But I love that they don't come down here. If you haven't noticed, I'm kind of high energy and I use my hands a lot. And when I have cables and wires in front of me from headphones, it's not good. So I love them, and they just go behind me and then they plug right into my Yeti. So pretty easy, but yeah.
Right. And if you'll notice, I'm not using any earphones. Sometimes I use the earbuds. I use the Pro because they're smaller and they have noise cancellation and they help me focus, and their battery life is better and all that. And they work really nicely with my Mac, so it's kind of seamless. But I don't like that you can see them. Mm-hmm. So I usually do a sound check before we go live, and I ask, "Hey, do you hear any echo?" And if the answer is no, I will go without earbuds. And if I need them for some reason, I'll wear them, of course. And
and these are wired. I've tried using my wireless AirPods or earbuds before, and sometimes when you introduce wireless solutions, you can get some tricky, funky things that can happen. And so, again, test, try things. But yeah, so they're not technically they're just headphones. They're literally just headphones, and I think they're even marketed as like sports headphones, which is why they go behind the ear. They aren't going to fall out, and they're behind you, so you can work out. I got these from Luria Petrucci with Live Streaming Pros uses these, and she was like, "These are the ones I use." I'm like, "Great, I'm buying them." And I do get asked all the time about them. They're actually comfortable. They come with different shaped inserts, and so you can really make it work the way you want. So yeah.
Really great. I see. Yeah, there were a lot of questions about the earphones, and so I think we answered all of those. Bulldogs is asking, Bulldog's House, cool name. Why is that people can chat in private chat, but not in the regular chat on the StreamYard? Okay, so that's a StreamYard specific question. But maybe let's talk a little, let's kind of twist it a little bit here, because for anybody who's watching the show for the first time, this show we try to focus on the tech, not so much on all the overall tech, less so about StreamYard features and how to. We have, if you want to know about new features coming out, we have a town hall meeting every Sunday night with Dan and Gage, the founders, and they answer questions about features that are coming, all of those kind of stuff. You can make suggestions. Very popular show. So tune into any of our channels there. If you want tutorials about StreamYard, you can join the StreamYard community group on Facebook if you're not there right now. So there we have Christian and Julie do Learn with StreamYard. We have a bunch of shows in there, including ones that are more tutorial focused. And we have a tutorial. I think we also have a demo once a week, like a proper demo once a week on YouTube. So you can also get into that. So there are plenty of resources where we answer StreamYard specific questions. But here I want to spin the question a bit, still answer it, but instead of answering why is StreamYard designed this way, I want to ask you, how do you use private chat and comments in your streams?
Yeah. So I use the private chat whenever I have guests on the show, or if I have someone so you can also have if you have a moderator or somebody who's maybe helping you produce the show, you can have them join your stream, but they can join the stream, but stay backstage. They never come up, and they can be there and they can actually message you if there's something wrong, or if there's if your sound's too low or whatnot. A lot of people will just have someone text them, but you can also have a moderator come in to your stream. That way they can private chat you. That way you can see some things that nobody else can see. So it's private chat for a reason. But the other reason would be to if your guests can share links with you that maybe they want you to post or whatnot. But it's also just a great way for you to communicate with your guests. Like, especially if you have a countdown timer playing or something, you might like type something in there like, "Are you ready to go?" It's a way to communicate with any of your guests that are backstage or live. I mean, I could type something in the private chat right now and Daniel would be able to see what I'm saying. So I like to use it just for that kind of communication that you need to have, that just is about the stream, the health of the stream, and any issues maybe that you need to be aware of or whatnot. So yeah, that's how I use it.
And we actually have it right now. We're using it. We have this is really interesting. I see a question from Neil in the private chat, but I don't see Neil in the. Oh, he is in here in the private chat. So Neil, he is here. And we'll get you online in a minute, Neil. We've got a few other people here waiting. So Sonic has been waiting very patiently for a while, and I've been chatting with him in the private chat, saying you got to turn on your camera before you can join the show. Right. So he got that figured out. So let's add Neil in, Sonic in for a minute, and then we've got a couple of others waiting as well. So apologize for the camera condition. Sonic, you're muted. If you can just unmute yourself. And let's hear what question you've got for Melanie.
Hi.
Hi.
My name is Sonic the Hedgehog. I never done I did a face review a couple of channels, but some people told me not to show my face reveal, so I didn't.
What kind of stream? What kind of stream was it that you were doing?
I did the same thing. I did the same thing on this one. Lots of streams like this.
Okay, so basically a talk show. So your question was if to show how many viewers you've got during the live. Was that what you're asking?
Yeah, I've got only like 7 subscribers. Then people does exactly the same stream them do, and I thought it was fun.
Got it. Okay, thanks, Sonic, for the question. We'll address that maybe as we take you offline here. Appreciate you joining in. So we can see how many viewers we've got online, Melanie. But how about I usually don't tell people exactly how many people are watching. Although right now we have about 113 people at this very moment. So I will say it. But do you tend to kind of mention how many people are online? Do you show it? Do you?
No, I don't comment on it. In fact, one of the things that you can, and that is really a great feature, that you can see how many people are viewing your stream. But the one thing I actually, especially as people are kind of getting started with streaming, I tell people not to pay attention to it because it can get in your head. So if you're streaming and you're talking and you look up and you're like, there's 4 people watching or there's nobody watching or whatnot, then, it can get in your head a little bit. Or if you see it and you're like, oh my God, there's 100 people watching, but I think it's irrelevant. I think you deliver the content. There's going to be a lot of people that are going to watch your replays when you stream. So for me, I pay attention to it sometimes, just more of an analytical aspect. So if I do something different in my stream, especially the beginning, then I'm like, ooh, people stuck around, because a lot of people will jump in and then they jump out. That's just kind of the way it works. But I pay attention to it more from an analytical standpoint, but I really don't think that it matters to the audience, how many people are watching. But honestly, I know with it, but I think most of the applications, the viewer can see how many people are watching the same stream that they're on. Now, granted, we're multi-streaming right now, so nobody's going to see that number that you just said because that's all channels that we're seeing. I also don't always trust the numbers that the platforms push out. So I don't know.
I've seen that for sure. Where I've seen numbers that are way lower than the reality and so on. So, and the only point I have to that, I guess, Sonic, is that if you're multi-streaming and you have somebody that's on, right now we're on like 10 different channels. So there might be a few of you out there that are watching that are saying, "Oh, I'm all alone here," right? And so I make an effort to show lots of comments so people get to see, oh, there are other people watching, not just myself.
Yeah.
But that one channel might only have like a couple of people on it, and we want them to see that they're more than just them here. That part of the larger community.
I agree.
I want to bring in some more.
Daniel, we're getting a lot of questions about the audio, our audio. I'm seeing a lot of people post about my audio versus your audio. They want to know what I'm using, what you're using. You're using a Yeti microphone, right? I mean, as well, right? Yes.
Yeah, so just a Yeti.
And it's the same. We both have the exact same one. I think the difference, so some people are saying that I sound clearer. I think the difference is probably that my Yeti is right in front of me. So it's out of shot, but it's down low and it's right in front of me. It's about 6 inches from my face. But you're using the Rode, I believe it's the Rode arm. And so you have yours up high. And that's because you prefer it to have it out of shot. And I think your audio sounds just fine. But when you are comparing, mine may be coming through sounding a little bit more like a podcast type of audio, but that's because of the position of it. I always encourage people to get the microphone as close as possible to you, but a lot of people don't want the mic in shot. And so you're going to have to adjust it. Now, what I hate about this setup is that when I need to get on my keyboard, if I'm doing a screen share, this thing is in my way. It's just not, yours is nice and out of the way. And so I would encourage everyone to just do a setup that lets you create the best stream that you can create. I do think sound is important, but we're using the exact same microphone. I just saw some people, they thought you were using a different mic, but we're using the same microphone. So it's just positioned differently.
Different position, different setup, et cetera. And little subtle differences there. Okay, let's bring in some of the people who are waiting so patiently in the studio with us. So first of all, we've got Neil, who will be our guest next week. Neil had a question for you.
Hey, Neil.
Hey, Melanie. Thanks for having me on, Daniel. I figured if you're bringing on guests, first of all, you're a braver man than I. I don't think I would ever put out a link on a live stream and say, "Come on down, let's join the party." Every show we produce, we're always really, we don't always get a chance to, but we always want to spend time with our guests before the show to tech prep, to make sure they can connect the sound, lighting, etc. Melanie, I was going to ask you in terms of the production that you do. The lighting is great. I love the animated GIFs. I don't think I could pull that off. I'm just not that fun.
Oh, come on.
But do you produce shows for others, or mostly just do your own shows and then bring your own personality in through that way? And do you have anyone else helping you with your shows, or are you really just a one-woman?
So when it comes to me and my business and the way I live stream, I'm a one-woman show. So I do everything myself. I literally do everything myself. I create all my own graphics. I create all my own countdown timers, all those GIFs. I figure all that stuff out myself. I am 100% a do-it-yourself marketer. And I produce all my own shows. I have fun with it. I talk about what I'm doing. I teach live streaming. I help people with live streaming. I help people do these things. And so I talk about what I'm doing. So in a way that helps my stream, because it can be a little clunky when you're trying to create this seamless stream and switch between things. And if you're not using like a Stream Deck or something, you're having to look around and click on things, and it can feel a little less seamless. But a lot of times I'm talking about what I'm doing because I am actually teaching and inspiring people to go live. But I do have a local community organization where we used to, we've done this it's been 6 years now. It's called ECI Social Media Group. And we would get together and we have presenters come in, and it's once a month and it's a networking thing. Well, obviously last year we had to go virtual. So I said, we're going to use StreamYard and we're going to just do it on live video. And so I produce those streams. I host it, but I also produce it. And so I love it when we have guests and I just kind of remove myself and I click between them and I toggle between things. I pull up comments. I love to be able to produce behind the scenes. And so it's something I'm willing to do for people. It's just something that I only do it for that particular program. And right now I don't have a producer for me. I'd love to have somebody kind of, like I was saying earlier, it'd be great to have, somebody jump in and be able to kind of help with a few things. But as of right now, it's just me. So
that's great. While we're talking about tech, just to some of the issues that came up earlier, lighting, for example, I'll show my setup next week, Dan, when I'm on the show. It's not as fancy as yours or Melanie's, but I do have a ring light. Glare on my eyeglasses? Yes or no? Right?
Not right now.
You don't see the glare. I have the ring light just above there, so above my eye line, as Andrew Lee pointed out in the comments earlier. So that really helps. And then for audio, I'm using a headset with a boom mic. How does that I'm curious how that compares just from the sound quality for people with the Yeti mics that you both have. And for what it's worth, I did order a Yeti mic. It should be coming on Wednesday. I ordered 2 different mics to test them out. But I've mostly been using the wired headset. It's usually works well. But also I actually like the look of the headset for when I'm directing shows, when I'm going in and helping people put on a show. And it's just me. I want to look like I'm a director. I'm not the star of the show. I don't need to have the lighting behind me, but I want them to think that I know what I'm doing. And the headset is part of that look, at least for me.
Yeah,
I didn't like my audio. Good.
I think it sounds great. I think your audio, at least for me, coming through for me, the audience can chime in, obviously, because what I hear might be different than what they hear, of course. But I think your audio sounds very clear. I can tell. You're using the mic that's on your headset, right? Is that what you said?
Yeah, exactly.
I think it sounds amazing. And I also I think it looks really good. It's subtle. I actually don't even think it sticks out at all. And I agree. I see streamers all the time, with, David Foster with Impartial Geek. He just rebranded himself as Impartial Geek, but he wears a headset all the time. And that's just the look I have come to expect from him. And so I don't even really notice it. And I think that, again, it all goes back to be yourself, lighting, the GIFs, you can do whatever you want, but you don't have to do everything you see other people doing. I always say, just be yourself. Like, do what makes you comfortable, whatever it takes to make you feel like you're comfortable in your own skin and you're producing a quality stream. That's going to help you feel empowered and confident. So headsets or no headsets, visible earbuds or no visible earbuds, do what you got to do. And it's part of your brand. If you're producing and you're a director and you're a techie person, then the headset's kind of part of your brand. So it works.
That's the idea. The other only note I'd mention, and we'll talk more about this next week, Daniel, is that I particularly found this headset a mono-aural, right? So it doesn't cover this ear, because I put a Bluetooth in this ear for when I'm directing shows. We're on a phone call at the same time with the rest of the team. So we may have several other people, assistant directing, helping with videos. We might have the client on a phone call as well if we're coordinating what comments to put on the screen, etc. So it's a question of listening to the show in one ear, listening to the phone call in the other, and that's why the mono-aural was an important feature for me. But hey, like I said, Daniel, you're a braver man than I to bring on guests,
right?
And it was a great experience. My friend Stephen Kaplan does this a little bit differently. It's he does a weekly show. Quick shout out. Thursday evenings at 9:00, Spin It Social Hour, focusing on photography. And when he actually surprises his guest with someone they know and brings them on the show, I don't think he actually puts out a link to have random people come on. So again, Daniel, I'll let you know if I ever hear of anyone doing that.
Interesting. And I'm getting a lot of comments here that my audio is the worst between the three of us. So figure it out. Part of it is when you're not.
But your hair is good. Your hair is good, Daniel.
Your hair looks great.
But what I've learned is if you optimize, once you figure out the sound and everything, it's all set up to the exact distance and location and placement, right? And then you start working and you say, oh, it's in my way, I'm going to move it. Yeah. And the sound quality just goes berserk. And so maybe I'll go for the headset, Neil, because I think that works really nicely. But I really want to get some of the other people who have been waiting here so nicely.
Please.
And thank you so much, Neil, for joining us in. We will see you next week. We're going to go a little bit extra beyond time here today because I want to make sure that Simon and Neil get to ask their questions. And
I'm happy to stick around.
That works for you, Melanie. Great.
So
Simon is with us. I'll just give him a bigger stage here. Hi, Simon. Love the lighting effect you've got there. Very dramatic.
I just got inspired from the show, and I was just while I was watching, like, hey, Melanie has been giving some great advices. Let me just go ahead and get branded with her on the show.
I love it.
So I just took your advice, and I was in that StreamYard Spotlight show. So I mean, I just got something from there. And before I ask question, I just came a little more branded. If you see, I have this
check
StreamYard.
it out. I love it.
There's a lot more that we don't end there. We have goodies that StreamYard has never sent me, right? But I still got one more. Do you see this mouse pad? Right?
Nice.
Okay.
Very nice.
And last one, right? The last one before I go, I also have this diary, right? So you can definitely see, like, I'm a big fan of StreamYard. So Milan, so definitely I was just watching for sure, right? So we at the Sharp Corner, we do a lot of shows from Monday to Saturdays, like we do all the week. Then towards the weekend we do these virtual conferences. My quick question or an advice from you is people ask about the countdown and all that. My question is, how do you make sure that you end the show nicely, because that is very important. We always kind of add a call to action that's like, okay, this is the next episode, right? So maybe if people may stick till that time, but how do you make sure that the engagement is towards the end? That is one. That's first question. Second, I was asked that, do you ever take break within your life? So let's see, we are already at 60 minutes. Do you ever plan, okay, it's 30 minutes, we should maybe take a break or maybe play a video in between? So how do you do that, or what are some of your opinions on that?
Yeah. So I personally, I love, for example, I think StreamYard does an excellent job on almost all their shows. They have their little contest, a little giveaway that keeps people wanting to stay tuned in to the end. If you can, create some sort of anticipation or have a reveal towards the end, or, depending on what your topic is or what it is you're doing, you want to keep people around to the end. And so you want to be teasing something that you're going to be talking about all the way to the end. And maybe it's a giveaway, maybe it's not a giveaway, maybe it's a special tip, maybe it's a trick, maybe it's a tutorial, something people want. So for example, if we wanted to get a really suspenseful on this show, we probably would have teased you guys with the GIF and then said, we're going to get to it. And we would have keep saying that so that people are like, show us how you did that. So you could, do some teasing and then build it, keep them through the end. The way you end a show, you said it best. You always want to have a call to action. You want to give people action to take, whether it be to know about the next show, whether it be to download a free guide, whether it be to join a Facebook group, whatever it might be. But I started recently, I created a short video to end my streams with, and it just comes up and it's a little animated. I made it in Canva and it just says, thank you for watching. And it's that, and then that goes away. And I do that so that I can kind of just feel good. And I kind of say, thanks for watching, and I end it. And then a bunch of people will keep commenting and say, that was great. Thank you so much. But it also lets me not have that awkward moment of thanks. And then you're like, is it ending? Is it ending? Is it ending? I'm off screen. The thank you thing comes up and then I just end it. So that's how I end my shows. To answer your question about the little intermission, if you will, you could totally do that. I think if you're going to do that, you want to give them something to do, because if you don't, you may lose them during your little intermission. Right. And I say, don't do an intermission unless you need to. I mean, if you need that break during the 60 minutes, go for it. But I wouldn't take a long break, and you can totally play a video in between. You can also just pull up an overlay and remove yourself from the screen, pull up an overlay that's just a static image. But I would say, put a animated GIF overlay up that's going to kind of have some motion to it. Now, again, we're limited where we can only upload 3 megabytes for that when it's a GIF on the overlay. But I mean, if you can put something up there, or even just put a 5-minute video up there, whatever you need to do. But yeah, I mean, I think there's nothing wrong with taking an intermission. You want to have something on screen that says, we'll be right back. But I would say give them something to do, like take action, or give them something that's an engagement thing. Like they should be commenting something because you don't want to lose them. That would be what I say. But I'd love to hear what Daniel has to say too.
Yeah, I think all of these are amazing tips. And I think it depends also on the style of the show. So in general, I think with time, you learn to pace it. Like, what is the duration that really works? When does the audience attention stop dropping? It depends on the guest and the topic, right? And then, so for example, a few minutes ago would have been the perfect time to end this show, but I don't mind going a bit longer because we have the Q&A section. So those who want to stick around for the Q&A section, join us live maybe. Keep listening to these questions. Look for those nuggets that you can find. They stick around. Whoever doesn't, doesn't. And then if you do stick around, you find all this value. You're such a big fan. You're really into the show. You could win a mug, and if not, just hopped in for a little bit. That's great. I think most of the shows online today, people come and go all the time. Almost nobody watches the entire show from beginning to end, right? And definitely during the recordings, they will scrub through to the sections that make sense. Especially when you can see the analytics and some of the platforms, and you can scrub to, okay, I'm just going to scrub to where there's lots of comments, and just watch that little segment, right? And so those peaks in analytics, they tend to go even higher. And so I think it's a matter of what are your goals. If your goal is to end strong always and maybe make a sale, then cut the show shorter. And I think and I guess the tip there is make it as long as it needs to be. Don't stretch it. And saying that, I'm just going to move on to our next guest because I've said all I have to say about this topic.
Yeah, thank you so much, Melanie and Dan. Thank you so much, Pam. Thank you so much for having me.
Great question,
You're
Simon.
very welcome, Simon. Thanks for joining in. I appreciate the question. We're going to do a couple more, and and just Lee and Emmanuel, and after that, we're going to close the session here. So thanks so much for waiting, Lee. I appreciate it. How are you doing? You're muted, by the way. Yeah.
Hilarious. I'm doing well. How are you guys doing?
We're good.
Awesome.
Thank you so much for allowing me to join. This information has been awesome. I always look forward to streams from StreamYard. Melanie, I kind of follow you online. So yeah, nice. I was like, I definitely got to jump on just to check you guys out. So my question was, I think I may have missed it, but could you touch a little bit more about incorporating music into your streams? Because I'm going to be starting using StreamYard for my church this week. And music is one of the things we kind of just want to organically put into the stream, so it's not just stale conversation the whole time.
Yeah, we sort of teased about it, but then we didn't actually talk about it, I guess. So
Yeah.
there are a lot of ways. So with it being a church production, there may be some, I'll say, more sophisticated ways that you want to look into, but the scrappy way, okay, which is I'll explain the scrappy way that I do it. So I've done some what I call hangout sessions where I'm like working on something. Maybe I'm designing a countdown timer in Canva and I want to show people what I'm doing, but I don't want it to just be me sitting there talking and it's like boring. So I actually will share my screen and I do it before I go live. So I make sure I pull it all up. I share it before I go live because as of right now, I know StreamYard's thinking about making it where we can share a screen and it won't automatically pop into the feed. But I share my screen and I make sure I share audio. And what I use Spotify and I have Spotify up and I actually play Stream Beats by Harris Heller and they are copyright free. So he lets you play whatever you want, copyright free. You don't have to have any issues. And so I just play Spotify and I play that playlist, but I make sure I share the whole screen because if you share a web browser, you can share Chrome and you can click, share audio. The audio is not as good. So I actually am a subscriber to Epidemic Sound. And so I go to the website and it's like, it's not as good. It's really not as good. So, but as you know, Epidemic Sound will let you download songs. You can then play them natively with a player or whatever. Now with the church, that solution may not work for you because of what you're trying to do. But Daniel, you may know of some other ways that they can pull music in to their stream, but the not so scrappy way. My way is pretty scrappy. Oh, I was going to say that what I do is I share that whole screen, but then I will actually just show me. I minimize, Spotify, and then it's just music playing in background and whatnot. But Daniel probably has a more sophisticated way than my scrappy way that might work better for you.
Music specifically is not my forte, but I do know that a lot of people use hardware like mixers where you can plug in. So you could use an ATM Mini, a Rodecaster. Those are the two more popular ones. And you can basically plug something in. I guess you could just plug it right into the computer as well and use a virtual audio cable. So that's essentially a generic name for an app that allows you to decide which application sound goes where. So you can say one goes to the speaker, the other will go to somewhere else, and the other will go to my earbuds, right? So you can control these stuff. So that's kind of the way. And I don't have a specific answer for you there, but asking the StreamYard community, There
Yeah.
are plenty of religious organizations, churches, and so on in there that will be able to answer that question for you in a more specific way, I think.
Thank you so much. Awesome.
Definitely.
You're very
Your
welcome.
your video looks great, by the way, Lee.
Oh, thank you. Using a mirrorless camera.
Yeah, it looks good.
Yeah.
Nice.
Thank you.
Yeah, very nice.
All right.
Okay, awesome. Thanks for joining in. I
Thank you.
appreciate it.
No problem.
Okay, our last guest will be Emmanuel here. Just ooh, you're in the dark, Emmanuel, but I appreciate you joining.
Maybe. Okay, there you go.
That's better.
Thank you so much for having me. Actually, I was very interested in the topic, the scrappy way of doing StreamYard. I do I think twice a week interview shows.
Mhm.
I host a pageant blog, a pageant Facebook page show, and we interview twice a week. And my issue has always been my camera. As you can see right now, I'm not very clear because I'm using the built-in camera on an old iMac. But the thing is, this is the only device where I can connect this condenser mic that I have right now so that the sound comes out good. And whenever I try to use my phone, which is clearer, there's the only thing I can use for it are earphones, so the sound doesn't come out well. So sometimes I have to choose sound over video quality. So now I'm obviously not an expert on this. So is there any hack to this that I can do, or any expert device that I can have so that I can put both video and sound quality together in the stream instead of like choosing one over the other?
Yeah, there is actually. Christian, if you're watching, I'd love if you guys do have a video, a tutorial on, because you can. So Emmanuel, you can actually use your phone, but you
Mhm.
can use it as a webcam, which would mean
Yeah.
it would be your webcam, and you could still use that microphone. So when you
Mhm.
join the stream, you would select your video would be your
Mhm.
phone, but then your audio would still be your condenser mic. And so you can 100% do it. You have to have a cable that connects your phone to your computer,
Mhm.
which you should have, right? Because the same as your charging cable, essentially. And but I believe, if I'm not mistaken, do you have an iPhone?
I do, yes.
Okay,
That's
so
actually my webcam one.
yeah, so if you have an iPhone, then I think you have an app that you download, and then you basically, when you connect it, you select that. I personally have not done this yet. I know you can do it. I've seen people do it. I've seen tutorials on it. I know you can do it. So I know I would say you would want to create your setup that way so that you're using your phone, because it's going to be a great webcam, and then you can still use that condenser microphone. Because it sounds like what you're doing right now is you're saying that you're joining it just on your phone, but you can actually connect your phone to your computer and use it as a webcam.
I see. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
My other question is actually on the sound, and it was already answered by the previous guest, and Melanie. It's actually what I do. I do the scrappy way. I just share the screen on what do you call it, no copyright music, and then I put myself on solo. But sometimes I forget to do that. So the Chrome tab is actually on the screen, and right now that's the only way I know how to do it. But
Same.
yeah, as Daniel also explained a while ago, I learned that from him today, so I'm definitely gonna do that next time.
Nice.
Awesome. Glad to contribute and help. And frankly, I'm on the same journey as everybody else here, right? So I might have more equipment, but the biggest reason I have more equipment is just to learn and experiment so I can share with the community and give answers. I don't need most of it. And I'm a little bit of an enthusiast and a geek, just like a lot of us here in the community and in the show. And I enjoy it, but do I really need it? No. I want to know and learn so I can share tips and go on the same journey as everybody else. And here and there I discover little things that make my my show a bit better. So happy to be able to share that with you. I appreciate the feedback. Emmanuel, thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Yeah.
Awesome. So we had a bunch of great comments here and lots of engagement, Melanie. A lot of kind words to you. Really appreciate it. We've got one last thing to do here on the show today, which is pick the winner. So I'm going to give everybody a last chance, whoever's with us here today, to type in the hashtag love StreamYard. Where we go? just use the Love Stream. Oh, not this one. Love StreamYard. Here we go. Love StreamYard. Type it in there so you could win a mug. And if not, you can win a mug in any of our other shows as well. Here, Jocelyn says my sound is better now. No, I just moved the mic. You see, that's it. I just brought it closer. So when I optimized the mic and I tested it beforehand, so while people are posting the hashtag, I'll just explain this. So you can do is you can go into, if you're using a Mac, it's a bit more complicated. You have to use what's it called? Not iTunes. The other one. Let me just look it up here. I blanked the name. Oh, QuickTime. Use QuickTime. And with QuickTime, you can use virtual audio cables if you've got anything like that. But essentially with QuickTime, you create an audio recording and you can then listen to yourself live as it's happening. So you can tweak the settings, do everything you need to do, and test it out and see how it works. And I got it all set up for about this distance, right? But then Melanie was saying, oh, Daniel's mic is out of the way, and I pushed it out of the way. So that's the story there.
I also think it's directional. So do me a favor, look up at the mic and talk to it.
Yeah, so it is direct. I do have it in the directional settings. So when I'm in meetings,
so my angle is right at my microphone. Yeah. And if I were to do it, yours is like probably more like that. Yeah, where you're talking. Yeah. So it's just with Yeti microphones, as you said, you have to configure it. And, I just happen to have mine like right there, laser right there. And I hate that I won the mic contest today because it's really a focus of a lot of people today in the stream. They're very concerned about your mic, Daniel. They're very concerned.
Which I'm glad to learn and improve it. So I'm really happy for all of that. This is great. One last question that somebody had, which I wanted to answer here, which was about how did I get the boxes or videos here to get bigger and smaller as we were speaking. So when you have more than 2 speakers in StreamYard and you have and you show comments, it automatically pushes the boxes up and shrinks them a bit to show the comments so they don't hide the faces of those who are down below at the bottom of the screen. So that's an automatic feature in StreamYard. So there you go. It'll just show up. And here I see people are still talking to me about my sound. Okay, so Melanie, why don't you pick our winner for today?
Oh my goodness. It's going to be very random. I'm just going to literally glance at the chat over and find someone who has the hashtag and go for it. Right. So, okay. I got Ron Johnson. That's the first one I saw as I scrolled randomly. Ron Johnson on Facebook. Yeah, there he is.
I see you, Ron. Okay, Ron, please DM me, tag me there. I will find you and as well. And we'll ship out a StreamYard mug to you. So there we go. Congratulations. And thank you for being with us on the show.
Thanks for having me. This was an honor. Seriously, I have loved StreamYard. Huge shout out to my followers that are watching. I've got, we're streaming in my Facebook community, which is called DIY Marketing with Melanie. It's just an open community of other DIY marketers, and they know how much I love StreamYard. They are the first people that got to see the animated GIF. So huge shout out to my DIY marketers that are tuning in today. But StreamYard's been a game changer for me, for my business. It's been a great way to have fun doing live streams and to create all the fun things and to do all the neat stuff. And it's really helped me connect better with my audience by being able to produce more professional streams, literally just by clicking buttons. And that's what I love about it is I don't have to spend hours and all this time and all this hardware. I can just literally log into StreamYard, and with the click of a few buttons, I can create these amazing shows. And I appreciate the community and how supportive you guys are and how great you are. So it was an honor for me to be on the show today. I'm happy to help StreamYard in any way I can, as you guys all know. And and I'm going to be creating some content, it sounds like, for you guys as well. And I love it. It's a great app. And if you guys aren't playing around with it, just get in and play around with it. Create a private group, go live in there and just play with all the features, and you'll get good at it and have fun. So
fantastic. And if you if any of you want to be a guest on the show, if you are a streaming enthusiast, if you got some interesting tech, and as you can see, tech doesn't have to be hardware. It could also be software, as Melanie was showing today. Some cool stuff. Contact me. Let me know. Would love to have you on the show. I'd love to bring a more diverse set of people from really interesting backgrounds and interesting industries. So if you work in some really cool industry and you do some really interesting stuff with your shows, I would love to hear and share it with the community. So so please do that. And yeah, and I think it's time for the outro. Somebody was asking, how do you end the show?
Right?
The answer is 20 minutes ago. So thanks, everybody, and see you next week, same time, same place.